What 2020 has taught me. Today I'd like to discuss with you things that I've learned and perhaps you've learned in 2020, things that maybe we didn't learn but we were reminded of. So let's get started. Firstly, hugs. Hugs are so important. We are social animals. Human beings love contact. We love to talk. We love to touch. We just need that contact. And I don't know about you, but perhaps I'd forgotten that. And 2020 has made me realize how much I need it and how much we all need it. If you've got a loved one that you've not been able to see and not been able to touch, not been able to hug, not been able to kiss, well, it's been so difficult, hasn't it? We are social animals as human beings, and we just need that contact. And for many of us, that was taken away this year. Temporarily, maybe, permanently for some. Yeah, we just need that personal contact, that touch, that hug. We need to feel that person skin to skin. We've missed it. So that's the first thing that I've learned. Social media is not the same as face-to-face contact. Yeah, many of us have been grateful that we've been able to keep in touch, and we've had Zoom meetings and Zoom quizzes and Zoom training and Zoom cooking, but it's just not the same as being there in somebody's company, feeling that vibe from them. You just can't get it over social media. One thing that's always worried me, and it's come back in 2020, is when you say something to a person face to face, you give off all these facial expressions and inflections in your voice, your tone of voice, and you just don't get that on social media. Even on Zoom, it just doesn't come across the same. And again, if you make a statement or a text or a tweet or whatever, it can be taken the wrong way because maybe the person's head's not in the same space as you are. So things can be taken completely the wrong way, and then you've got to try and work out how to make it better. And it's so much more difficult than just being face to face. And again, that's been taken away from us for a very long time now. I have to say, I've been reminded, I've learned how selfish some people can be. Some people who refuse to wear masks and think this is all one big joke and it won't happen to me. I'm in the low risk, so I really don't give a damn about anybody else. It's reminded me how selfish some people can be. People having huge parties and putting other people at risk. Just because you don't believe it, just because you haven't experienced it, doesn't mean say it's not real. On the flip side of that, we've been reminded how selfless some people are. Some people have gone above and beyond. Our health workers, our key workers. I've seen it, I've heard it, even shopkeepers, even delivery men. These people have put their lives at risk, have carried on working, they haven't been furloughed. Nurses doing 12, 13-hour shifts, doctors, how many of them have we lost to this disease? They've done so much for us as a community, as a race, as individuals. Yeah, on the flip side, people are selfish, but there's so many more people that have really gone above and beyond this year, and I hope we get the chance to recognise them and honour them at some point. I've learned to appreciate who I've got next to me, who I do have contact with. I appreciate my wife so much more. As my regular viewers will know, I lost my mum earlier this year. I wasn't able to go to the funeral home to say goodbye to her. I wasn't able to go to her funeral. One thing about my mum, she won't mind me saying this, she wasn't perfect, but she was my mum and she loved me to the end of the earth. She would have done anything for me, and I didn't get to say my goodbyes. So I'm going to take more time with the people that are in my life. I'm going to appreciate the people that appreciate me. I'm going to hold them that little bit closer when I get the chance. I'm going to give my wife an extra hug, and my children, when I get the chance, I'm going to appreciate them just that little bit more, because we just don't know when they're not going to be there any longer. As you'll also know, my wife lost her father. I've learned personally, firsthand, what a horrible disease Parkinsons is, to watch the personality disappear first, the facial expressions disappear, the dementia to set in, and my father-in-law just wasting away, not eating properly. Right up to the end, there was still glimpses of the man that we knew, but 99% of the time, he just wasn't there. It's a horrible disease. It's hard for the family, and I'm sure it was very hard for him and very painful for him. So yeah, I've learned what a horrible disease Parkinson's is this year. I've also learned, and I'm sure many of us has, how quickly our life can change, how quickly we could get put on furlough, how many of us have lost our job, how many of us have lost loved ones, how many of us have ended up in financial difficulty because of losing our job, and the prospect of getting a job right now is really difficult. So even some of the things that we thought were sorted, some of the things we thought we could rely on, nobody could have seen this coming. The world's been turned completely upside down. But just appreciate now how quickly life can change. Nothing's permanent, nothing's set in stone. I really do need to learn myself, and I hope you've learned that just appreciate what you've got when you've got it, because it can be taken away from you in an absolute flash. Another thing, and I talk about this on my channel all the time, there's no health without mental health. I've learned, and I hope a lot of people have learned, your mental health has to be your number one priority. You can go to the gym and you can work out, but if your mental health's not there, by gosh, you can quickly go downhill. You really have to look after your mental health in whatever ways. Sometimes that can be just simple things like taking a walk out in nature, spending a bit of time on your own, or just reaching out to friends and family, checking in with people. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's plenty of other videos on this channel. Check in on your mental health. Find what you need to look after yourself. It's so important. I've learned again, being loved is everything. You can have friends, you can have colleagues, you can have contacts on your Facebook and your Instagram and all that. But somebody who really loves you, you need to really appreciate what it takes for them to love you. I'm not perfect. I make huge mistakes. But the people that love me despite my flaws. They love me despite the things I've done wrong and the mistakes I've made. And I will never, ever underappreciate that ever again. Being loved is so important. It is everything. I always say it, and I'm going to say it again. If you don't take some time to look after yourself, you can't look after anybody else. There are people out there that have given so much, but unfortunately they've forgotten to look after themselves. They've run themselves into the ground, and to the point that they can't look after the other people. They can't look after that relative or the friend or the neighbour. And they've been there for everybody else, but their mental health has really suffered. So again, take some time to look after yourself, because otherwise you can't look after anybody else, whether it is a family member or just a neighbour, or sometimes you don't even have the strength to say good morning to somebody passing you in the street. Take some time to look after yourself. Hopefully you're with me on these. Drop your comments down below. What have you learned? What things have I missed? What have you learned in 2020? It's been a tough year. We're not out of the woods yet, but at least we can say goodbye to 2020 knowing there's light at the end of the tunnel. Please get in touch if there's anything I can help you with, if there's any way I can point you in the right direction of looking after your mental health, or any tips and tricks you'd like to share with me and our viewers, our subscribers. But until next time, thanks for watching.